Okay, let's start with an honest question. Have you ever left church and thought, that was interesting, but how does this help me tomorrow? Well, maybe you've wondered why something that's supposed to be about life with God can sometimes feel disconnected from real life. Things like work, anxiety, relationships, and decisions. You see, if church is about God, shouldn't it actually matter in everyday life? If you felt that tension, you're not alone. But the surprising thing is this: Jesus never intended faith to be disconnected from real life. When you read the teaching of Jesus, something stands out immediately. He talked about real life constantly: money, anxiety, conflict, forgiveness. He talked about work and power, relationships. And in Matthew 6, Jesus talks about worry and anxiety. In Luke 12, he talks about greed and possessions. In Matthew 5, he talks about anger, relationships, and integrity. Jesus didn't teach abstract religion. He actually taught life. One of the biggest misunderstandings about Christianity is this: people think faith is primarily about attending a service. But that's never how Jesus described it. Jesus didn't say, attend a gathering once a week. He said, follow me. Following someone is a daily reality. It affects how you treat people, how you make decisions, how you handle stress, how you handle the success that you have. Faith was never meant to stay inside a building. You see, we need to ask then, so why does church sometimes feel irrelevant? Well, there are a few reasons. Sometimes churches focus more on information than transformation. Sometimes sermons become abstract instead of practical. Sometimes faith becomes a routine instead of a relationship. And sometimes people assume that spirituality only belongs in religious spaces. But that's not the vision Jesus gave. Matthew 5:13 through 16, Jesus said to his followers, should be salt and light in the world. Salt affects everything it touches. Light changes the environment around it. Faith was always meant to impact everyday life. Imagine faith applied to real life. It affects how you respond when somebody hurts you. It shapes how you handle stress and anxiety. It influences how you treat coworkers and classmates. It changes how you see success and money and purpose. Faith becomes less about religious performance and more about daily transformation. Christianity isn't just about believing something, it's about becoming someone. Sometimes when people say church feels irrelevant, what they're really saying is this: I want something real. Something that actually speaks to life. Something that helps navigate pain and decisions and relationships and purpose. And the surprising thing is this: that's exactly what Jesus came to offer. In John 10:10, Jesus said, I have come that they may have life and have it abundantly. Not just someday, but life right now. Here's something really important. Sometimes people judge Christianity based on their experience of church culture. But church culture and Jesus are not always the same thing. The best way to understand Christianity isn't by starting with the church, it's by starting with Christ. Look at his life. Look at his teaching. Look at how he treated people. And you'll discover something powerful. Jesus is incredibly relevant to real life. So if church has ever felt disconnected from real life, you're not crazy for noticing that tension, but that doesn't mean Jesus is irrelevant. In fact, his teaching might be more relevant than we realize. So the question isn't just, is church relevant? The deeper question is this: what would life look like if we actually lived the way Jesus taught? If this video has helped you think about faith in a new way, well, subscribe and drop your questions below. I'd love to keep exploring them with you, because faith was never meant to stay inside a building. It was meant to change how we live every single day.